my camera cut out, but starting from right here, where we left off, I can now identify the values of each of the variables. All right, so the way that we do that is that I'm going to look down through here, and all of the columns that have a 1 and zeros in them, those are ones that we are actually going to be able to solve. All right, so just writing in again what all these were. That is what we had. All right. But if I have a 1 here with zeros underneath, I know that this one is actually going to be one that is a non-zero variable, or at least that it is equal to this number over here. All right. So to read this, I will say x1 equals 6. Since this is not made into a column of all zeros with one entry of 1, I know this is going to be one of the ones that I just set equal to 0. So this is like when we did the table method. If we just set x2 and s1 equal to 0 and we solve for everything else, this is what we would get. All right. Next, I'm going to look at s2, and the 1 is right here. So that means that s2 is equal to 4, and I have s3 is equal to, sorry, I said s2 is equal to 4, right? And s3 is equal to 8. All right. Finally, z, 1 right here, is equal to 30. All right. Now, that is what I have for my variables for this particular tableau. So we see that this is a feasible solution because everything is either 0 or positive. All right. Is this optimal? No. All right. This is not optimal because I still have a negative value in the bottom row. Okay. We must keep pivoting here until there are no negative values in the bottom row. All right. And that's not including my z value because that's possibly negative. We'll get to that whenever we start minimizing things as well as maximizing. So my next pivot, I'm going to do this the same way. I'm going to look to see that my negative value, the only one that's left, is in that second column. So that's my pivot column. And in order to figure out whether or not, or which row is going to be my pivot row, I'm going to take this constant and divide it by this number over here. All right. So 6 divided by 2/3, it's going to give me 9. I've got 4 divided by 4/3, it's going to give me 3. And finally, 8 divided by 5/3 is 4.8. All right, so that means that my lowest ratio, my lowest non-negative ratio, is going to be right here. Now I know I'm kind of going everywhere because these were so big, but that corresponded to this particular row. So I have this pivot column, this pivot row, and that means I am going to pivot off of element. Well, we can say it in a few different ways. We have the element in the, we'll do it in the order that the pivot program is going to ask you. It's in the second row and second column. All right. So if I want my final tableau, I can go to my pivot program, or I could do it the old-fashioned way by making this into a 1 and the rest of these into zeros using row operations. But in order to use this pivot program, we would just go to PRGM, select new pivot. All right. And I am going to hit pivot off of the second row, second column. And it's going to do it off of the one that we had stored in there before. All right. So here's what I've got. And you got to be kind of careful here not to toggle around in it and lose it, what I like to say. But I have 1, 0, 1/2, negative 1/2, 0, 0 from what I can see, and I'll just go ahead and get everything else in there too that I can still see. And we will go on over to get the rest of this. And I'll go down to get the bottom row. Alright, so I have 32 here. 1, 0, 1/2, 3 halves, and our 2 zeros. So you've got to kind of